Alright, so welcome to the Australian AoE4 Championship 2022. We've got Gilv here in the green trunks as the English, playing off against JrChipmunk in the orange trunks as the Mongols. So we're here, round number 2 today, best of 1. So second scout for Gilv. Looks like Chipmunk just using the Gur to be the second scout. It's over quite a way away from the town centre, but at the same time there's not really any wood around it. You can sort of have moved it here, possibly, but even then it's still not fully covered by the town centre. And on top of that, this leaves Chipmunk a lot closer to the food there as well. So Chipmunk's going to actually bring everything off the off the Gur, sorry. Probably use it to patrol around the back here. While the Khan grabs his last couple of sheep, drops off and goes to scout a bit more aggressively on Gilv, while Gilv, for the meanwhile, with the two scouts, just scouting around the edges of the map, picking up what he can. Oh, and these sheep, I don't know what they've been rallied to. A little bit further over than need be. So Chipmunk going for the early barracks. Sending a villager as well. Wants to go for that early tower. The gold's actually on the other side of Gilv's base, but at the same time this could be used to deny wood and the stone. Berries really restrict the farms to going right over here. Second villager now being brought as well. Oh, and so the Khan getting picked off there. That's not great for Gilv, I mean, not great for Chipmunk, and it's great for Gilv, who snatches up those sheep. Something being said in chat, but we can't see what. So Gilv bringing up some villagers to actually deny this, and being English, you can actually engage the Mongol units at ranged. The Gilv's got to have to put a lot of villagers on the wood to get the production he needs, and to make sure that this doesn't finish up. One more burst, he'll be able to pick off one of these spearmen, and he's slowing down Chipmunk's attempt to finish up this tower. At the same time, his own gathering's being really slowed down. Bearing in mind, Chipmunk's brought two villagers all the way across the map for this. So one of the spears does fall. So Chipmunk going for a more defensive tower to start with, but I think it's also going to be denied. So Mongol player, it's not worked out trying to take the wood line off the English player for the moment, has it? Gilv still backing up Chipmunk. Eventually Gilv's going to have to go and drop off with these villagers and retask them around here. But saying that, Chipmunk's going to have to creep forward with the towers. This one's really only zoning the stone, so he will do. will actually cancel it. So age up here for Gilv, while Chipmunk be taking his at the moment. Or just about to. He's slightly overgathered on the food, but at the same time, he's got the wood he needs for more production. He can go for this age up. Ooh, but the Bowman now going to make this almost impossible for Chipmunk to do this safely because he's gone for Spearman rather than Horseman as his opening. The two longbowmen together are going to be a pain for Chipmunk to engage on. So he's going to have to back off and go H2, adding some pastures as well. Getting them over at the OVU because it does actually speed up their production time. So Chipmunk trying to pick off the scout and save the villager, but unable to. The villager does fall. So Gilv, this has been a very nice defense against the Mongol aggression for him. I mean, yes, he is one of the better civs suited to do so with the ranged villagers of his. At the same time, he has slightly slowed down his wood eco. Chipmunk, deer stones on the way. He's out of that production. A little bit of food in the bank to get a few more horsemen out in the field, but at the same time he does need a little bit of wood. It does cost 20 wood to get those guys out. So he's going to need to gather a bit more. Plus he is going to want to try and ramp up the pastures and add a range of his own if he can, because there will be spears from Gilv. So Gilv going to have enough for a second town centre here. So he's going to chuck that down somewhere. Actually, he's just sent everyone back on the wood for the moment. I suppose he doesn't want Chipmunk knowing where the town centre's going. Plus, he did need a little bit more wood. Oh, sorry, I was looking at Chipmunk's wood. So Chipmunk Feudal is done. Second town centre for Gilv is just about done. Use the bowman to pick off the deer, which is actually a really good idea. It's super efficient to do this. It means he doesn't have to waste gathering time with the villagers, killing the deer either. And they're in a nice spot around the town centre. Like ideally these ones would be right next to it, but even still that's fairly minimal walk distance. So Chipmunk now transition to the stable so he can get the horsemen out and really force Gilv to make use of Spearman himself. At the same time, his own Spearmen aren't really going to be able to do the job against Gilv's with the longbow support. So he's probably going to have to look at adding in a range or trying to get a quick castle as soon as he can here. And flooding the field with the Royal Guards if he can. Palace Guards, is it? Sorry, Palace Guards. I keep saying Royal Guards. Oh no, the Man-at-Arms for Mongols. So an attempt at raiding here, but the spears forcing back the horsemen before they can really get any villager kills. So Chipmunk actually adding wheelbarrow now. He's very close to having this castle age. You can get step redoubt, shift the gird to being more useful as a food drop-off point because it's got a little bit of walk time there. Put the step redoubt there on the gold mine, and he'll be well on his way to castle age. Gilv trying to scout out his Mongol opponent. So Gilv looks to be getting the gold to go to castle himself, because there's not really a huge need for it in the English composition. Otherwise, unless you want to flood the field with man-at-arms. And that's more something you do in the mirror. So a little raid run-by attempt here from Chipmunk, but these guys can't really stay. There's that main town center has those innate arrows, whereas the peripheral ones, they don't. So probably best off actually trying to hit the hunt if you can. The horsemen probably shouldn't be taking this fight. They are going to get cleaned up quite quickly here by Gilv. So Chipmunk, Castle Age is hit now. Getting a blacksmith in the prayer tent to get his upgrades, and he can get some of these relics under his control. And Gilv, another barracks being added for the moment. And he's still just waiting to get the resources to go castle. So Gilv, no production at the moment. Chipmunk, got man-at-arms, got lances on the way. So these guys can be quite tough for Gilv to deal with. So he's going to have to be on the defensive until he can get his Castle Age out. But he is going to be able to go for double night production once he gets there. Well, Chipmunk, yeah, he's going to want to try and deal the damage now. He's going to get these relics, or at least get the first one. King's Palace, the third town centre effectively for the English. And his Age 3 landmark at that as well. Chipmunk probably wanting to go in here because Gilv would have had time to react to that, I think. And he really doesn't want to hang around there. Going to tank a bit of damage he probably didn't need to. So it's not a problem once he is able to actually use his shaman for healing, but for the moment he's trying to get the relics with him, so losing that health on those knights isn't the greatest for him. He's going to pick off Gilv's scout though, so that's nice for Chipmunk. It's the little things that count, but at the same time he's got to find a way to try and overwhelm this English beast over here. So range being added now for Gilv, so he can get production of crossbows alongside his longbowmen, so he can actually take out the lancers. Chipmunk at the moment really only just producing lancers, not really producing any infantry. The last spearman being picked off there. Conversion attempt by Chipmunk. Not going to work, but at least it's going to mean the knights have to back off for the time being. But saying that, he probably needed to keep running. Gilv raiding over the other side of the map. The Lancers and the Khan as well. A nice idea to bring the Khan, giving that little bit more movement speed. Chipmunk massing up a lot of the man-at-arms at the moment. The man-at-arms, not the greatest of units against the knights without some spearmen mixed in, because the knights actually do counter them, but on top of that, They are... Sorry, but the benefit of them is that they do have the armor to tank through any bowman damage, and it sort of does force out crossbowman production from your opponent. Chipmunk needs to make sure he's still got a couple of spears in the mix, as well as a mix of horsemen and lancers here, to make it difficult for Gilv to wipe him out with longbows or with knights. Prayer tent giving access to these earlier relics, while Gilv, I don't think he's gone for any relics just yet. He has walled in this one at the back of his base. Well, Chipmunk, I don't know why he sent this shaman over here rather than right on the relic or the sacred. There we go, he's going to grab the relic. But the annoying part about tagging the sacred site is it tells your opponent you're on it, so Gilv's going to know that the shaman's going to be about here. If he times this right, he can pick it off. Otherwise, just come here and then run straight back towards his opponent's base. Chipmunk, a bit of an unsuccessful fight there. He really only went in with a handful of cavalry and lost them all. Gilv not quite able to track down the shaman, but he might not have to. It does have two wolves tailing it at the moment. A pair of villagers being sent to try and clean this up, but the downside is now the knights are chasing, and so Gilv could get even more than he bargained for here. Well, it looks like Chipmunk is going to clean this up fine. So Chipmunk adding a mangonel. Gilv has really walled himself in quite nicely, and his food eco is going to be absolutely massive. Oh, and the knight's a little bit slow. Looks like Chipmunk's going to be able to secure the relic, although he hasn't actually dropped it off at the prayer tent, so not gathering from there just yet. Lance is being cleaned up along with the Khan. Conversion attempt, but it's probably never going to work really. The knights just have too much damage. If they get in melee range, it's pretty much over. So Chipmunk stacks of villagers here, but not enough places to actually garrison them off to. You can garrison another 5 over in this tower, but you just got to try and run them around for the minute and pray he gets enough army to clean this up. But he needs to get more spearmen out. He needs more military production, particularly barracks, I think. He's trying to push forward on Gilv at the moment, but he's being repelled. So the spear's going to be able to pick off the mangonel. And there's just so many crossbowmen that these men-at-arms can't stay around. They really need a bit of horseman support, or for some of Chipmunk's own range to be here. Because there is only a couple of men-at-arms for Gilv at the moment. So having a mixed range ball of your own could really probably set that right. Because I mean, the siege is a nice addition, but at the same time, Chipmunk wasn't really able to set up and even have it deploy and lay waste to anything there. And horseman going to get picked off. Not a lot of a front line left here for Gilv, but Chipmunk doesn't really have any backline units to actually support his, so Gilv got to force his opponent to pull some structures back there. Eat up some production time. Chipmunk getting wedge rivets. Gilv adding in a lot of man-at-arms and a horseman now. So he really wants to add that front line that he was missing. That range ball, he's right where he needs to be at the moment. Probably doesn't need to add too much more to that until he sees a range component to his opponent's army. These villagers trying to gather this distant sheep, and Chipmunk's forgotten to rally the pastures right under the town centre as he's been building them, which has been a bit of a problem for him because now these villagers are all going to be picking off that straggler sheep, or trying to gather from that straggler sheep. Some more raiding here by the English Knights. Upgraded tower. So, I mean, they can't really stick around too long. There are some lances over here for Chipmunk, but he's not got an easy time of trying to find a way of getting a lot of value out of them. Gilv have to keep running here. This Chipmunk now has a couple of spears in the mix. Gilv going for that forward keep. He's pretty much worn out Chipmunk's front line. Ooh, villagers being killed with area damage from the mangonel, but now the keep's finished up. Crossbows stagger out. The men-at-arms beelining the mangonels, so taking out their counter unit. There's no more front line left here for Chipmunk. Some Springles in the mix as well. These will really be able to pick off the mangonels. But Gilv gonna have to try and add some siege to keep the push up here at the moment. Chipmunk is still struggling to maintain the army to keep the opponent out of his base. This prayer tent goes down though, that's a big blow to his economy. All these villagers being used just to try and drop off and actually take a fight here. But it might not be enough for Chipmunk to hold on with. GG, Gilv takes the game.